Some good 49ers news on this Friday. Remember, we've been talking a lot about three 49ers defensive ends recovering from surgeries this offseason. Well, it looks like one of them, Keion White, is just about fully back from his. Video posted by White's trainer shows the 49ers defensive end working out hard without a brace on his ankle. Remember, he was shot in the ankle following the Super Bowl in San Francisco, and there was obvious concern in the immediate aftermath since that did require a surgery. But Keion White should be back and ready to go week one at the latest. I would expect them back at training camp. John Lynch has already predicted that. Maybe we even see him on the field during the offseason program. But you know, White, I think technically should count as part of this 49ers 2026 draft class. They used their 2026 sixth-round pick to get Keion White in a trade with the New England Patriots, and they not only got White, they got the remainder of his rookie contract, which was the rest of 2025 and 2026, and this guy was really good for the 49ers last year. Remember, he didn't have support from Nick Bosa. Bosa was long gone with the ACL by the time that Keion White arrived, played against the New York Giants in Week 9, but White had a 6-game stretch with 19 pressures for the 49ers. That's 3.2 pressures per game. For perspective, Nick Bosa in his Defensive Player of the Year campaign was at 4.9 pressures per game. Put White in there with Nick Bosa, obviously occupying some blocking attention. Put him in there with Osa Odighizuwa occupying some blocking attention. I think he could average more than 3 pressures per game. In a lot of ways, White and Mykel Williams are mirroring pieces because they're both long, big athletes who can set the edge on running downs, and then the 49ers envision both of those guys rushing against guards on the inside on passing downs. But Keion White is a more advanced pass rusher right now than Mykel Williams, who's obviously really raw in that regard. So I don't think it's far-fetched at all to say that Keion White could be part of the 49ers' first-string NASCAR Lightning package instead of Mykel Williams, especially when the season starts, especially considering the fact that Mykel Williams is currently coming back from an ACL tear. And if you look at the 3 defensive ends for the 49ers who are currently coming back from those operations, obviously Keion White is one of them, Mykel Williams is the other one of them, and Nick Bosa coming off the ACL is the third. Bosa should be back in time for training camp. Congratulations to his brother Joey, just got married. And Mykel Williams got hurt, 6 weeks after Joey Bosa? He got hurt during Keion White's 49ers debut against the New York Giants. So Mykel Williams might be pushing his return a little bit closer to the start of the regular season or a couple weeks into it. They can always start him on PUP as well, which would be a minimum of 4 games missed. And that's why somebody like Keion White is such a valuable part of this 49ers roster, because he can do a lot of what Mykel Williams can do and can probably ease that workload coming back for Mykel Williams. The most astounding part of the past 2 49ers off seasons, if you want to get away from the drama, if you want to get away from, it's almost like gossip-like drama based on subjectivity, right? My mother-in-law just had a great quote. She is an Auburn alumnus, and she said, I got online and some of these 49ers fans, or a lot of these 49ers fans, complaining about the NFL draft. It sounds like a bunch of University of Alabama sorority girls complaining about the results of Rush. And I said, I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, it's just a bunch of subjective whining and complaining. And anyway, we're here to talk about substance. And as far as substance goes, the past 2 off seasons have seen a complete remake of the 49ers defensive line outside of Nick Bosa. And, Keion White falls into that with the 6th-round addition for the 49ers, but it came early. It came during the 2025 trade deadline. Osa Odighizuwa was also a trade product for the 49ers, so they used their original 3rd-round pick for 2026 on Osa Odighizuwa to bring him over for Dallas. So if you look at the totality of it, the 49ers used 4 of their 7 2026 original picks on defensive linemen. Romello Height, the edge rusher / outside linebacker, Started his college career at Auburn. Speaking of Auburn, by the way, War Eagle. Then he went to 4 other schools. But Romello Height was a second-round pick. Osa Odighizuwa was the third-round pick. Came over in a trade from the Dallas Cowboys. Grayson Halton was the 49ers' fourth-round pick. Number 107. They had several fourth-round picks, but he was number 107, the extremely athletic defensive tackle out of Oklahoma. And then the 49ers brought Keion White with the 6th-round pick, although they got dibs on him early because they traded for him ahead of the 2025 deadline. On top of that, they also brought in 3 undrafted free agents on the defensive line, the headliner being Mikhail Kamara out of the University of Indiana. 2 other defensive tackles, Bryson Eason from Tennessee, we're in Tennessee right now, and James Thompson, who went to the University of Illinois. So if my math is correct, I just went through 7 defensive linemen added to this 49ers team with either 2026 draft capital or through undrafted free agency following the 2026 draft. On top of that, they added what? I think 4 defensive linemen last offseason who are still on the team, because you have to also include the Hulk, Sebastian Valdez, in on top of Michael Williams, Alfred Collins, and CJ West. Out with the old. They cut a bunch of veterans last year. They didn't re-up guys this year. They let guys like Yetur Gross-Matos and Kalia Davis walk this year. The foundational pillar who has stayed through it all has been Nick Bosa. Everyone else gone, and the 49ers, they needed it because the defensive line, it's one of the 2 primary weaknesses of this team coming out of 2025, right? They only had 20 sacks, which was a league low. I get it that they had a lot of injuries, but this was on the heels of a year where the 49ers didn't stop the run. So they had to figure out a way to retool this whole thing, rebuild it so they would stop the run first, and now they're really, really going after the pass rushing. And again, I would not be surprised to see Keion White as part of that 49ers NASCAR package. That involves big, strong, athletic defensive ends moving inside to work against shorter, stockier guards on heavy passing situations. So the 49ers, Osa Odighizuwa is a 3-down player. He's not going to be coming off the field for the 49ers. He's going to be rushing on those 3rd downs. But I don't know if they've got another defensive tackle right now who they want to plug in next to Osa in lightning package situations. Now maybe Grayson Halton shows enough to do that for the 49ers, but I wouldn't count on him as a rookie to do that. And I think they might want a little bit of a length to mix things up. And you're not going to get that from Grayson Halton. He's shorter arms. He's built like a defensive tackle. You're going to get that with guys like Keion White, like Michael Williams, who can line up inside. And then you could even mix things up, and you could even have Nick Bosa, even Romello Height lining up inside occasionally. But Height's going to be more of a guy who runs the hoop for the 49ers with the speed that he has at 239 pounds. And then you can watch last night's video. We get deep into it, because we talk about Height as a potential outside linebacker on 20% of the snaps. 5-man fronts are going to be a thing for the 49ers this year at a much greater rate than last year, which is why it's so worth it to talk about more defensive linemen, because the 49ers are going to run those 5-man fronts. You're going to try to isolate Bosa and Odighizuwa into more single blocking, no double teams, more single blocking assignments for them to beat. And anytime Nick Bosa gets to work against a single team, or Osa Odighizuwa gets to work against a single team, good things will happen. All right, so long from the farm. There's your 49ers update to open the weekend. We got a lot coming for you here on Saturday and Sunday.